So this episode of Komi Can't Communicate had me dying and had me rolling. The whole entire middle part of the episode with the ice skating with Katai-kun and Tadano and Komi basically third wheeling for a moment, and it just had me freaking rolling. From the phone call to where Katai called Tadano and he was like, I'm gonna invite him out to ice skating. He's like, it's me. he was so awkward, and he spent so much time in his head. I love that. One of the skills that Tadano introduced to us very early on, right? Like in the first episode, was that he has a exceptional skill in reading the room and kind of like reading the vibes, right? And in some cases, he kind of fails at that, but in most cases, he pretty much succeeds. So we all kind of have to agree that when it comes to Katai-kun, he definitely is able to really read the dude and really understand that, he means well and he means genuine. And he's not afraid to kind of take that next step, even though like everybody else is like really off put by him. Even when he's just breathing on the phone, he still is able to take that next step. Like, yo, what's up, dude? What you need? You know what I mean? And he's not put off by that, which bodes really well for him. His personality, it really bodes well for him, like as far as his personality and kind of just his, how do you say it, confidence in who he is, even though he lacks confidence in a lot of other different areas. When it comes to Komi, he's constantly losing confidence. He's constantly not able to kind of take that next step that he wants to. He definitely wants to take that next step. But overall, he's kind of confident as who he is as a person. He's not afraid to hold hands for a little bit with a man. He's not afraid to kind of put himself and be vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like, so there's a lot of senses that he has really, really good traits. And I really love to see that, especially it just means that he's a pretty well-written character. But when it comes to Komi, that's like his kryptonite. He becomes more, I don't think the right word isn't submissive, but he comes like off-putting. He becomes embarrassed. He becomes a little frantic, a little worried. A lot of the different emotions that he has because he's just nervous when it comes to Komi and dealing with her. But that whole entire ice skating scene, this episode, just I was just dying of laughter. And the biggest moment that I had in there was, there's two things. One was, I thought Katai finally caught on to Tadano and Komi's relationship, right? Because he looks at those two when Tadano's teaching her how to ice skate, right? Like how to stop and everything. And he's watching them from afar, and he sees like, he's like, oh, I get it now. And I thought that he noticed that they have something special, but that wasn't the case at all. He's like on the 10th plane all the way over here, not understanding really. So then it transitions to Tadano helping Katai, and then he finally shows him now, doing him how to stop. And then they're like holding hands, like, skating. And Kobe's like, she has a moment, she's like, yo, wait, what's going, what's this? And Kobe, I love Kobe's expressions. And she's just like, yo, what is this? And those two scenes alone, just had me freaking, like, I was just like dying of laughter. And I thought that they were just absolutely freaking just next level hilarious. Like, it hit home with me. Then we kind of wrap up the episode, right? Before we get to the wrap up, then, obviously the first part of the episode was all about them going to the shrine. And there was another funny scene where Najime, originally called Komi. She didn't answer. Tadano was about to call her, and before he could make his move, Komi called Najime back, and Najime was like, she just looked at Tadano like, gotcha, bro. And that scene was absolutely just like really, really funny as well. Then the whole entire episode wraps up with Najime, or I'm sorry, the whole episode wraps up with Tadano being sick and being under the weather. And he was, he had a cold, you know what I mean? I've always loved in anime how they treat a cold as like the characters on their deathbed kind of thing. I've always kind of felt it very funny that they dramatize a cold so much, and it happens like in every anime where somebody goes running out the rain or gets thrown in a pool or something. They always end up with the cold, and they always dramatize the sickness to like the nth degree, like it's like they're on their deathbed. And I'm just like, yo, I get colds, unfortunately, pretty frequently, and I felt like it's never been like immobile, you know what I mean, like it's never been like that bad. And so I always enjoy watching. But anyways, Tadano, this episode had a little cold, and his sister was like, yo, don't die. And he finally figures that he's trying to get the water. He's poor boy is just like he can't even he can't even get water and stuff. And he's pretty much like down for the count. And he goes to make a call. He's like, okay, I'm gonna call Najime. I'm gonna ask Najime to come over, be like, yo, you got some food? Can you hook me up with some, give me some food, give me some meds, come take care of me for a little bit, be a homie. And he ends up accidentally calling Komi instead, because he's like, yo, get some food, come over. And she's like, and I really, really enjoyed that as well. And Komi obviously beelines it over to his house. She does the wifely duties very well, and she takes care of him. She makes sure that he's good, make sure he's hydrated, gives him some food, gives him some soup, hooks him up with some porridge. She does all the stuff that she's supposed to do. And I love that we ended off with her finally, wanting to clasp hands and hold hands with Tadano, hold him while he's sick for a little bit. And Najime actually ends up showing up, and at the last minute, and bust in and totally ruins Komi's mojo in that moment. So overall, I think this was one of the, personally, just on a personal level, I think this was one of the better episodes this season. It's one of the episodes that I enjoyed more. I was laughing a lot more, and I feel like the past couple of episodes, I really haven't, I don't want to say I laughed, but I haven't had the comedy that they're trying to go for hit me as well as I did this episode. And I really felt like everything that they were going for this episode really hit. Like last episode, like the snowball fights and stuff, like a couple of scenes were a little bit funny, but like overall, like I just kind of like watched, you know what I mean? Like I watched and I enjoyed, just kind of sat back, eat breakfast, whatever. This episode though, I really felt like, the shrine stuff, I felt there was a funny moment there that I had like a good, laugh from. The ice skating stuff had me dying. And him being sick and stuff, I felt like, okay, that was a warm, emotional moment, as well as really funny as well. So I felt like this episode, from everything they were trying to accomplish, I felt like really hit. So for me personally, this was one of the best episodes of the second core, second season, whatever you want to call it. So really good episode of Komi Can't Communicate. Really excited for this week's episode. I thought it was really, really good. Make sure you guys join me for next week's episode number 7. I can't believe we're going to go into 7 weeks of Komi Can't Communicate already. And I really appreciate you guys being here. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comments down below. And I'll see you, my friends. I'll see you next week.